So my name is Rima and I'm from Pino'z marketing team. Welcome everyone to a session. So today we have the privilege of learning from a true influencer, marketing guru Radhika Guptani. So let me give you like a brief introduction. Radhika, the open slate in 2018 after with her ideas. And in a very short period, her branding firm has become the go-to destination in Ahmedabad, offering comprehensive 360 degrees and impeccable brand positioning. She's one of the go-to person, if any brands, any influencer marketing requirement. She has over 15 years of experience, and Radhika has mastered her craft with solutions. He has worked with brands like Starbucks, Vogue, Vadilal, H&M, Nykaa, to name a few. Thank you, Radhika, for agreeing to do this with us. It's a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thanks, Rima. Thank you so much. You said 15 years of experience, and that's when I was like, oh my God, I sound old now. So yeah.
No, it's 15 years of experience and it's 15 years of wisdom that we're looking forward to learn from today.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Guys, I think before we start, if I could just request all of you to put your this thing on mute, because I'll be happy to address questions as and when they come in after the presentation.
Yeah, so I was about to say the same thing. Guys, if anyone wants to ask any question, they can put their questions in the chat box and we'll either answer them at the end of the session together, or if there's some important question, Radhika can take in between as per the flow. Yeah, I'll keep monitoring the questions that comes in and keep a note of that, and we'll make sure that we answer each and every of them.
Yes, I have enough time, so don't worry. I think I will address all the questions coming in. So firstly, I'll just give like a quick brief intro. I'm Radhika Bhuptani, based out of, I'm the founder of Open Slate, and we're an agency based out of Ahmedabad. We primarily do a lot of work in Ahmedabad and Gujarat per se. But before that, I will, of course, tell you a lot more about me during the end of the presentation. I would like to thank the Relo team for, giving me this opportunity to kind of interact with all of you and discuss such an important and crucial topic. And Rima, kudos to you and your entire team. You've been doing a fabulous job. I've been listening, I've been fortunate to listen to some of the conversations you've conducted for the followers of Relo. And, it's really informative. So thank you so much for that.
It's always a pleasure to learn from experts. I mean, I think I'm still on the way, but it's always a pleasure to learn from others' experiences.
Yes, thank you. So do you want me to share my screen and start the presentation?
Yes. Let's start. Let's begin. Yeah.
Okay, so guys, how I will, of course, let me just share the screen first and then kind of. Okay, so here we are. Are you all able to see my presentation, the screen?
Yes, Radhika, we can see that.
Okay, great. Okay, so here we are. Let me just 1 second. Great. So today's topic is basically, I'm sure the Relo team, of course, has been promoting it big time, maximizing the benefits of influencer marketing. Now, this is something, which has boomed post-COVID, because I call myself a combination of 3 eras. I belong to an era when, your touch screens, your smartphones were not there. And then came in, the smartphone generation wherein we got used to internet and all of that. And then came in the era of post-COVID, which kind of, boomed the entire industry of influencer marketing. So here I will, before I start, I'll give you a quick preview into what is in store today and how are we going, how are we going into different phases of this particular topic. I hope I'm audible, everybody.
Yes, Radhika, you're audible. Guys, if there's an issue, you can put your queries in the chat box. Yeah.
Great. Okay, so today how we are going to discuss this topic is into 4 phases. I'm going to give you a quick brief about the world of influencers. What is the word influencer and how do you understand the word influencer? The second bit would be the relevance and benefits. If you wish to, then why should you use an influencer and why should you opt for influencer marketing? Third bit is if you decide to use the influencer marketing, how do you identify that particular influencer? And the fourth bit would be that after you've identified the influencer, how do you implement, how do you measure, how do you gauge that these are the right influencers, right? So I hope this will, I think, simplify the process, because many of you, I don't know how many of you belong to the branding industry, but I think this will kind of simplify it for you all. So, right. So the world of influencers. So now I think you can see 3 particular influencers here. And if you see their page, this is most of them, I think you must be aware of. Now, these people, if you see here, belong to all different categories. And these are people who were actually not very popular. But, now because of the digital media, they're the most popular guys in the digital world. So that's Ashneer Grover, Kusha Kapila, Ankur Wariku. I think you must be familiar with most of them. And now these guys are like big, huge influencers because they have 1 million plus following. Correct? Now, what makes these influencers different? Why are they different? So I'm going to focus on this word I use, persona, and I'm going to use this often during the presentation. And this is very, very crucial for most of you to understand what is persona, because persona defines what does the influencer stand for, right? So it's very important to know who is the influencer and what do they stand for. Here's a simple definition I have put in on the screen for you to understand what does influencer mean. It's a powerful form of social media marketing that involves using endorsements and product mentions from individuals who have a strong social media following and are seen as influencers within their niche or industry. So here I would want you to kind of, focus on the bold words that I have put in. Social media marketing, endorsements, influencers, niche industry, right? So this is how an influencer is defined. Let me go on to the next thing. So these are like, now let me just kind of define the type of influencers to you, because इसके बारे में बहुत confusion रहता है कि किस type का influencer कौन है ये, who is, because I think celebrities is very simple to understand, we know most of them, but अब जो digital influencers है उन्हें काफी लोग नहीं समझ पाते. So I've just kind of made a breakup of this. So mega influencers. Okay, sorry. Oh, my video was the thing. Sorry. Yes, you can see me now, Rima?
Yes, Radhika, we can.
Okay, great, great. So mega influencers. So who are these mega influencers? Mega influencers are typically the ones who have 1 million plus following. So typically, your actors, actresses, these are the ones who fall under this, your singers. They have a substantial large following and they provide brands with a greater and a bigger reach. So that's a mega influencers. But mega influencers are the ones who charge the maximum. The second category is macro influencers. One way to identify macro influencers is through the count, the following, which I've mentioned here. And if you're kind of looking at a certain type of customer, but still want to reach out to the masses, if you don't have a particular budget, but you want to reach out to the masses, then macro influencers are great for you. And micro influencer is someone who has like 10K to 100K following. And if you want to focus on a particular niche area, like you want, if there is a product for kids, and if you want to focus on parental influencers, then macro influencers are the best. Generally, macro influencers are when you want to promote a particular brand in a particular city. That's when macro influencers. So right now, Ahmedabad is booming. A lot of brands from Bombay, Delhi come to Gujarat, and they kind of reach out to us for, micro level influencers. These are city-based influencers. And nano influencers are relatively a new breed of influencers who've come in, boomed a lot post-COVID. This is someone who is influential in the local neighborhood community. Some examples of this would be like a local nutritionist, local skincare doctor. These are very local level nutritionists, local level influencers. So these are the four range of influencers. Nano influencers, of course, are the cheapest format of influencers. They don't charge much, but they have a good specific targeted community. So nano influencers are doing pretty well. Let me just go on to the next one. Right. So let me now tell you about, I hope everybody's clear in the type of influencers. That was just a small brief on what does the word influencer stand for and what are the kind of influencers. Now we have the relevance and benefits. Why should you kind of go ahead and use influencer marketing? So this is how I've divided it into stronger reach. It's a very specific, what's the secret behind it? Stronger reach. So it's a very specific, since you select the influencer based on their reach, you're reaching out to a targeted audience, right? So if you're a fitness brand, it's very easy. You select a good fitness influencer because they have a particular kind of following. It's measurable because if you select an influencer, you see whatever they've posted, you can see how their comments are, likes are, how is the engagement, if they've posted reels, what are the views like, and of course the normal word of mouth publicity, what you're getting for your brand. Credibility. My example here would be the Nike into Michael Jordan tie-up, right? When Nike tied up with Jordan, and the Air Jordans is history. Like, now I don't even have to give you the details, but what they created was history. And Air Jordans is Air Jordans today because of Michael Jordan's credibility, right? So it's very important to see the kind of influencer you are associating with. Also, the reason one should opt for influencer marketing is because it's cost effective. It's, much cheaper than the traditional forms of advertising, which used to be your hoardings, your ads, etc. And increased authenticity. So here I would give the example of Slurp Farms. If you know of this brand called Slurp, started by two mothers, and they are products for kids. Slurp end-to-end used digital marketing to promote their brand when they launched. And in fact, they were lucky that a lot of celebrities through their influencer marketing started using it. And today, one of the celebrity who used their product is now their investor and brand ambassador. Anushka is the brand ambassador of Slurp. So, when you have a face, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be a celebrity every time. Nevertheless, when you have a face who uses your product and is an actual user of your product, that kind of adds on to the entire campaign and compounds brand awareness. So, when you select different form of influencers, you're reaching to a larger audience. आज आप 10 influencers select करते हैं, उनके 10 मतलब उनके अलग-अलग followers होते हैं, तो आप एक varied format of लोगों को reach कर रहे हो इसके through, and that's why influencer marketing is great to use. So these are like the 6 key formats to why it is, what are the benefits of using influencer marketing. I'm just going to pause here so that you guys can kind of see. If somebody's making notes, you all can make the notes here. So also I'm like, sharing some data here about what I've spoken up till now. So if you see how it is in here in this particular data, post-COVID, the influencer market size has considerably increased. So 2016, it was 1.7 billion. 22, 16, and at this point it is 21.1 billion. So it's a huge industry. And what type of influencers will your brand mostly utilize in 2023? So if you see here, it's majorly nano influencers that brands are using. Because every brand comes with a budget, and as an agency, we also kind of suggest the brand to use their budgets wisely. Agar aap ek माइक्रो मेगा इन्फ्लुएंसर को यूज कर लेते हो तो आपका पूरा बजट उसमें यूज हो जाता है, वर्सेस व्हेन यू यूज अ नैनो और अ माइक्रो लेवल इन्फ्लुएंसर, यू कैन divide your budget and use it throughout the year. So this is just a small statistics like we derived when we were researching. 83% said influencer marketing was effective form of marketing. The report also noted that 67% of the marketers plan on increasing their budgets for 2023. So like I said, budgets for influencer marketing are only increasing. Brands are in fact going lower on above the line ATL form of marketing and using influencer marketing, which is much cheaper, much controllable, and in fact, it gets the brand more popularity as well. Great. So now my next thing is, how can you use influencer marketing and maximize its results for your business? So when it's like, when there are so many, how do you identify the right fit for your brand when there are so many influencers? And as I said, post-COVID, I think the word influencer is also very loosely used. Every person is now becoming an influencer. So ye jo pura clutter hai, how can you choose the right fit? So here's a quick pointer for, I've jotted down a few points for you to kind of, these are the key points when you're selecting as a brand. If you're a brand owner, small scale, large scale, how do you select the right influencer? So first thing is you define your audience. As a brand, jab aap influencer ko select karte ho, it's very, very important that as a brand owner, you are very clear on how do you want to define your brand. Define your audience rather. And this only happens through a lot of market research. So I get a lot of brands, Rima, who come to us and say that, we don't know, you decide. But that's not how it should be, because, when the results come in, they are not, they say that, oh, it could have been better. But I suggest it's always better for a brand to have a very clear roadmap when they launch their product or brand, and also to invest a little bit in market research. So defining your audience is extremely important. आप किस product को launch कर रहे हो और किस type के target audience, youngsters को कर रहे हो, youth को कर रहे हो, family को target कर रहे हो, that's important. What are your brand values? So based on your brand values, अगर आपका जो objective है, if your brand value is based on wellness, for example, then it's important for you to use a fitness based influencer rather than a food blogger, because that might not be the right fit at all. Because अगर एक food blogger है तो उनको लोग generally खाने के लिए follow करते हैं, versus if your product is a wellness product, तो generally उनको लोग wellness के लिए करते हैं follow. So it's important to know your brand value, your brand objective. It's something as simple as when you hire somebody, if you're a brand owner, when you hire somebody for your company, what you see is how do they sync in with your company. So it's the same funda when you select an influencer. Budget. Now, budget is extremely crucial, guys, because, lot of times I get brands who come with an, who have no idea about budgets, or they give us a large budget and then they exhaust their budget. So as an owner, it's important for you to plan it for the full year. And this, of course, you just have a baseline in your head, and then, of course, the agency will help you out. But based on your budget, you can actually select a good mix. Agar aapka budget zyada hai, and if you're very confident, then you can just go with 1 or 2 mega influencers. However, if you're not sure and you're just launching, ideal process is that you actually, when you've just launched the product, you actually kind of divide your budget throughout the year with a mix of nano and micro influencers. Because what happens is, like I was, reading recently, like L'Oreal had launched one of their mascara brands, right? And L'Oreal, of course, is a big brand. They could have afforded, like they have all the celebrities endorsing their product. But when they did this particular campaign, they did it with a mix of nano and micro influencers. And the best part was when they did this influencer campaign, unhe pata chala, these influencers were, they gave them a feedback that the mascara is actually not coming out very easily. So it was a great launch the product for the public. So that's how L'Oreal kind of benefited, and they did not kind of go in and put in money with just one mega influencer. Rather, they did a mix of micro and macro, and this in fact gave them good feedback and enough time to kind of work on their product. And before they could launch it to the public, they reworked on it and launched it well. Fourth point would be reach versus engagement. Ab generally kya hota hai कि whenever, like as an agency or as a brand, when you're selecting an influencer, you just click on an influencer's page link, generally Instagram, and then you kind of see how many followers they have. But trust me, this is the worst way of actually selecting influencers. What you need to do is actually see the engagement rate of these influencers. And this, the agency has various, if you have an agency on board, they have various formats wherein you can see the engagement rate. There are various websites जहाँ पे आप खाली that particular influencer का link डालिए और आपको उनकी engagement rate पता चल जाएगी. So engagement rate क्या होती है? जिस हिसाब से उनके followers उनका content देखते हैं, उनसे involved रहते हैं. So followers can be purchased, guys. Engagement can never be purchased. So hence, reach versus engagement is very important. And the fifth point would be social media platforms, right? So it's like if आपका product more review based है, तो आप it's better you tie up with a YouTuber. और अगर आपका product fashion based है, because fashion generally stuff is more fast fashion, so it's better you tie up with a Instagrammer, right? Instagram influencer. So social media platforms, it's important to select depending on your product type. So these are the 5 key points. Okay, so I would like to share a personal feedback here. Starbucks was one of the brands we launched when they entered Gujarat, and their first store outlet we launched was at Prahlad Nagar. Now, if I can say maximum of you, I know most of you are on mute, but what would the ideal, when I say what would the ideal TG be for Starbucks? अगर मैं आपको 2 सेकंड दूं सोचने को, तो आप generally सोचेंगे youngsters. And I'm not even asking you guys right now because I know most of you are on mute, but आप generally सोचेंगे youngsters. And अगर आपको मैं पूछूं कि massy audience हो या premium audience हो, तो generally आप सोचेंगे कि सिर्फ premium audience and youngsters. But what happened was when, let me share a personal example. What happened was when Starbucks launched in Ahmedabad, their biggest issue was that all the youngsters were coming to the cafe because हमारे यहाँ एक definition है, cafe है तो खाली youngsters जाएंगे. But none of the families, like very little family members, like, you know, families were coming into Starbucks. So this is not something which Starbucks faced in other cities, right? Like a Bombay, Bangalore, you have all mixed type of crowd coming in. So what we did to help them was we did a campaign called Family Time at Starbucks, and we did it with macro and micro level influencers, wherein they took their families to Starbucks. They had a great time and they shared their experience. And after this, it was a great response. So they also saw a lot of family crowd coming in. So this was just a small example, so that you get an idea on the kind of influencer marketing we've done. Okay, now there are 3 C's very important and very crucial for influencer marketing. And this is more from a brand perspective. When you're a brand owner and if you associate with the influencer, it's important for you to communicate your brand values and ethos in the right manner. You cannot just pay money to an influencer and say, promote my product. No, that's not how it's done. You have to give them an entire synopsis. You can't give them their brand brochure because no influencer, some of them love to go through it, but typically they don't have that much time. So you have to make an effort to, because ultimately you are paying them. Ultimately it's, you know, they'll be promoting your product. So it's very important for you to give them a brand mandate, that what is it that you want them to communicate? What is your objective? All of that. The second is creative control. So when you select an influencer, it's important for you to give them that creative freedom. As I said, it's, you know, it's not that you just tell them, shoot kariye, jo bhi karna hai. It's not that, but it's, you, once you give them the brand mandate, you discuss the mood board with them. So get a mood board from the influencer on what they're going to shoot, what the entire, for example, if it's a reel, what's the reel going to be like? But give them that creative freedom, because it's the influencer who knows what works best for their followers. If you give them very, very typical advertising content, it might not even get that much engagement. So it's important for you to give creative control to the influencer. And third thing would be call to action. You can always, you know, attach a call to action to the campaign in order to gauge how well it is working. So you can kind of have the influencer lead, you know, to your website, or you can share a coupon code with them so that their followers can use it, discount codes, all of that. But call to action can only be defined based on what your goal of the campaign is. So अगर आपके पास website नहीं है तो आप website traffic के लिए आप उनको link भी नहीं कर सकते हैं. So it depends on what your goal is. Based on that, you can define your call to action for the influencer. Now the implementation journey. So we've gone through the various phases, right? 3 phases. One is who is an influencer, what are the benefits, and how do you choose your influencer? These are the 3 phases we discussed up till now. The very important phase is the implementation journey. Now, I've divided it into 8 steps, and I will pause after the 4 steps that I speak about so that you can note it down as well. First step is identifying campaign goals. I've mentioned this before as well. If it's a luxury product and or if it's a food brand, you cannot have a fitness person, promoting a food brand, because that's not the right fit for you. In fact, that does not even look real. Influencer marketing is not just paying money and making that influencer promote that product. You are actually, why is influencer marketing different than ATL marketing? You are actually having the power as a brand to choose the right fit for your particular product, right? So once you identify the campaign goal, if you're a wellness product, then you get a fitness enthusiast who promotes it. You cannot get a random food blogger to promote it, because that will be a complete no-no. Then you determine the audience. Both of these points are interconnected, because based on your definition of who to select, based on your definition of who to select, you will then determine the audience for it. So based on your audience has to be, as I said, if it's a wellness, influencer promoting a food product, that's a complete no-no, because then that's not your right TG. And the third would be the budgets. As I said, it's extremely, extremely important to get the right budget in your head, because based on that budget, you'll be able to negotiate with the influencer. You'll be able to list down how many influencers you want overall for your campaign. And based on that, once you have you have the budget. Sorry. Rima, is that you or is that somebody from the audience?
No, I think that was one of the user. I've muted it. So,
Okay.
Radhika, on the budget note, I've received a question. I think it would be more relevant to that slide. So, Lakshya is asking how to create a budget. We would like to know more about charges. So, can you give an example of how you can decide a budget for the brand?
So, yes, of course. But a budget for a brand can be decided on based on, if you're a new brand, right? If you're a very new brand, you will need to reach out to a larger audience. So typically what happens is when you're launching something, your budget has to be a normal basic math of marketing is 30%, your entire cost, जो भी आपका cost है आपको brand establish करने में, उसका 30% cost आपके marketing में जाना चाहिए. That's a normal math, because मुझे पता नहीं है, Lakshya, you've asked this question, but I don't know what brand you're asking this for. Now, I'll talk in a very generalized manner how this calculation works. So generally, if मुझे अगर एक पूरा brand खड़ा करने में, if for example 1 lakh रखे, 30,000 I have to put into marketing. I'm not defining the form of marketing. It can be influencers, it can be anything. 30% has to be marketing. Now, sometimes when brands come to us, influencer marketing is a part of various other marketing programs, right? So in that case, it is a discussion they have with us, and then we kind of guide them that, okay, out of the 30%, put 15% in influencer marketing, the remaining 15% you can put into your hoardings, all of that. But mid-scale brands typically only prefer influencer marketing. So the entire 30% goes into influencer marketing. However, we also tell them, if it's an experience-based brand, so say for example, if it's a makeup brand, right? ये जो चीजें होती है, makeup, food, all of that, it's very important that irrespective if the person is influencer or not, but you have to showcase your experience. People also have to experience your product. So in that case, what we do is how we divide that 30% is 20% into influencer marketing, and the remaining 10% into hamper activation. Or if it's a restaurant, then we invite people to the restaurant, because if you give free food to people also, guests also who are not influencers, that's also a cost to the brand, right? So that's how we divide it. 20s to 30, 20s to 10, and that's how we discuss the budget with them. But once a budget is confirmed, typically if it's a city level product, generally if it's a city level product, then it's macro and micro influencers being used. If it's a national level product, then what people do is they select like maybe 4 or 5 big influencers, mega influencers, and the remaining are city specific micro and macro influencers. So Laksh, I hope I've answered your question. Rima, does that work?
Yeah, Radhika, works perfectly. He's not replying, but let's wait if he says any.
Sure.
He says yes, perfect.
Okay, great. But again, if you need any specific detailed responses, because right now we are discussing in general, I just gave you an overview, but if you need anything in detail, you can always drop a message to Relo or to me, and I'll be happy to respond to it in detail, right? Okay, so quick this thing, executing an effective campaign. So campaign goals, determining the audience, your budget, shortlist influencers. Once you shortlist influencers, reach out and connect to the influencers. So ye jab aap karte hain, it's important of how you present your brand, the brand mandates, all of that. So it's important of what kind of portrayal you're doing for your brand, and you have to be very clear with your communication to the influencer. Once your influencer is on board, then you streamline your content strategy. So if supposing I am that influencer who's going to promote your brand, एक बार आपका मेरे से confirmation हो गया, the next step is आप मेरे से discuss करिए कि Radhika, if you're going to promote our product, how are you going to promote our product? What is it that you're giving us? You're going to give us reel, post, story, only stories, whatever it is. And it is important that you discuss a mood board, because as a brand owner, if you are paying somebody, it's important for you to know what the gist of the entire promotion is going to be like. And then the last 2 steps are execution of the campaign. They execute the campaign. So on that day, it's important. One thing which we do as an agency, and which I'll share with you all, is that we have a very, very detailed format of communicating with the influencer. So we have the brand mandates, we have the hashtags, we also have a mood board in place. So everything is in sync the day the influencer comes to shoot. And the last bit is once they upload, then it's the measuring the CTA, call to action, which you can see from their views, their comments, their engagement, and general word of mouth publicity. Right. Now, matrix, if I think I've already discussed, engagement is the engagement which the influencer has on their page. The traffic is when, say, for example, when a product comes on Shark Tank, when entrepreneurs come on Shark Tank, they see a huge traffic coming into their page, right? So as a fan of Shark Tank, I've also kind of visited a lot of brands being promoted on Shark Tanks. I've gone to their website, but not necessarily I've ordered it. So this is traffic which comes on to, through influencer marketing. And when you give a discount coupon or a call to action to these influencers, you can gauge कि अगर आप कोई makeup brand है और if I'm your influencer and you've given me a code, you can gauge to it that how many people have used their code, because only if they've seen my reel or post, then they have been able to use that code. So that's how you can gauge कि आपका वो that marketing with that influencer, how much did it work? So that's called the metric of measurement.
Radhika, sorry to interrupt, but there's a few people who are asking that can we give restaurant ka example? Feel there are a lot of audience in our webinars who are from F&B industry. So
right.
We can keep like a mix of retail and food and beverage examples.
Sure. So in terms of restaurants, how I would so I would not only talk of, because most of you are into restaurants and we are majorly into branding, and I've launched a lot of restaurants, national, international, and domestic level as well. For restaurants, what I recommend is that you should not pump in your budgets only into influencer marketing. You should have a mix. It's very important. So here's the thing, Rima, where major restaurants go wrong, and this is my personal learning. They come to us and they say that, we are launching our restaurant, And as soon as we launch, we want to do an event, we want to do influencer marketing. Trust me, that's not the best way to do it. If it's a restaurant is all about hospitality, right? And hospitality, irrespective of how much promotion you do, hospitality needs to be, it's all about the experience. So what I tell restaurants is, and since, as you said, most of the followers and viewers here are about restaurant owners, how you should go about it is the day you launch, you should do a soft launch. And at least the first 2 or 3 weeks have to be a soft launch. A lot of restaurateurs are always concerned about rentals, costs, and they want to start this thing. So you do your soft launch, you let people, regular people come in. If you do a soft launch, it's not necessary and you do influencer marketing later, the buzz will go down. No, that's not how it is. You should always do a soft launch first. And then after 2 to 3 weeks, I would at least say a month, but minimum of 2 to 3 weeks, then you should get into all the forms of marketing. Because, and why do I say this? Also because in that 1 month or 3 weeks, when you do, the soft launch, you will also get a lot of critical feedback. And because as owners, we always think we've created the best product, but that's not the case. We have to face the reality. So in that 1 month, you'll get a lot of feedback from your friends, family, people who come in, who are walk-ins. And the idea is to improvise in that 1 month. Once you improvise and you're completely ready, that's when you go all out with your promotions, right? So lot of local brands in Ahmedabad that most of you, I know of a lot of people who do these soft launch activities. 1 month, they just invite friends and family, and then they go all out in promotions. That's how it should be. Number 2, once you are ready to, go all out in the market. Number 2, what you should do is, you should not then go all out with your promotions. You should phase your promotions. You should plan your promotions into different phases. So the launch phase, out of 100% of your promotion budget, 50% has to be in the launch phase, and the remaining 50% has to be used on a quarterly budget. Because in a place like Gujarat, and Rima, I'm assuming maximum of your audience is also Gujarat based right now.
So no, Radhika, we have audiences from pan India. So
Okay,
it's
great.
not just Gujarat. Yeah.
Great, no issue. But I think this problem which I'm going to address right now is pan India actually. Loyalty factor is something which is a big issue with customers, right? Like there was a Mexican restaurant I know of, and they were planning to launch, and then they suddenly saw one of the Taco Bell launching a wrap at a very competitive rate. So the idea is that as a restaurant, it's important for you to kind of divide your budgets and not use it at one go. Launch phase is the maximum wherein you need to use it. The remaining 50%, you use it in different phases. The example I'm trying to give here is, you have to be relevant. If you use everything at one go and you then exhaust your budgets and don't use it in the next go, in the next couple of months, then you are out of then there's no brand recall for you. So it's very important that you have a brand recall factor in the customer's mind. And how do you do that? Then you use the remaining 50% of the budget. So you divide that 50% into 4 quarters. Every 3 months, you use, you're launching a new menu. In summers, there is some mango menu coming in. In winters, you're doing something special. Festive season, you're doing something special. And that's how you use your budget. So this is how, on a baseline, it's important that as a restaurateur, you use your budget this way. I see a lot of restaurants doing a lot of fancy events, which is great. You must do it. That does set an impact. But whenever you're also doing launch events, please see to it that the focus is food. The focus is nothing else. Little bit of tamjam, little bit of entertainment is obviously always required. But it's important to kind of, communicate your story. And when I use the word story, a brand story with any brand that you're launching is very important. Today, in this day and age, everything is about 2 things. Content, as you all know, everybody keeps on talking about content. But what we also forget is the narration of the brand, the storyline behind the brand. Because only if your storyline is very strong, that is what will resonate and relate to an audience. Imagine after COVID, I see pan parlors being promoted on Instagram, right? They have their Instagram pages. I see random people having their Instagram pages and promoting their business, which is fair. I think it's a third party app, so everybody can use it. But it's important for us to understand that how do we use it and how do we channelize this.
Yeah.
So Rima, I hope I've given a basic example.
Yeah,
right? So it's important for you to kind of narrate a storyline, because if you don't have an emotional connect with your audience, then that relevance factor goes, because there are so many people now on Instagram. So if for me, the best example, guys, would be Subco. You know, Subco, the way they've created their brand story, it's fantastic. If some of you haven't seen Subco, please go on their page. It's a small coffee shop in Bandra by Lane. In fact, when I went to the shop, I was surprised to see that, okay, this is the hype about Subco. Of course, brands being in Bombay always have the advantage of celebrities coming to their, cafes and restaurants. But Subco is, Rima, one brand which I would say that that has set a benchmark for any cafe to kind of now launch in the market. It's a small space and the amount of revenues they're doing is fabulous. Also, the reason they're doing this is the storyline. So when you go on their page, you'll see the kind of every product they have has a storyline to it. And now they've launched a chocolate factory and they do a nice tours of this chocolate factory. In fact, Subco also sells their merchandise. So, I never thought any Indian brand could be that great at selling merchandise except Starbucks, which is, of course, an international brand. But Subco kind of created that. So it's a beautiful, beautiful brand to refer to if you're a brand or a restaurant or a cafe owner. So, right. Rima, do you want me to show some campaigns that I've done?
You can actually, that would be perfect. So Radhika, we actually have a lot of questions pouring in. Do you want to take that at the end of the session?
Of course, of course. No, I can take it right now also. We can do that, and I can then one or two questions I can answer, and then I can talk about what I want to do.
So it's not a question exactly, but we have a lot of people requesting us for the links of the website that you mentioned, who can, tell you the engagement of the influencers. If you have such links, you can share with me, and guys, I can share that in the WhatsApp group later. So that's one thing that everyone is asking. So how to create a budget, that's something that we have already covered. Now Preeti is asking that please explain how to decide if it is a existing brand. Preeti, can you please expand on that question? Preeti is also asking that how to promote when it is already a renowned brand. So we spoke about that if it's a new restaurant, if it's a new brand, we do launch events and we start with soft launching, but how to promote when it's already a renowned restaurant?
Right. So, Preeti, let me just quickly show you something. So this is something, as I said, when you're already a brand, which is known brand, and what happens is you are the leader, and then suddenly you see these smaller brands coming in one fine day. And of course, competition will always come in, right? It's, as I said, the key for any brand, whether it's an F&B brand or anything, is sustainability. How do you sustain? And actually, I think that's her question, because everything is related to sustainability. Now, all of this can happen when you create some, as I said, a storyline. So what we've come up with a very interesting concept is something called the tasting tables. And we call it the tasting tables into whichever restaurant we do. So I will, of course, show you one example we've done recently. If you've heard of people from Ahmedabad would know about Mauve restaurant. Now, the reason we call it tasting tables is because if once a restaurant is launched, it's also important for a restaurant to improvise every time, right? So why do we call it a tasting table? Even so we gather a bunch of foodies. It does not have to be influencers. It can be families. It can be individuals who are fond of food. It can be individuals who travel well. So we get a group of interesting individuals and we prepare a menu along with the chef and kind of, their signature dishes. And the signature dishes are served to the table. It is a mix of all people, as I said. And that's the reason we call it a tasting table. And based on every product that they taste, there is a feedback form, right? So they can say they loved it. They can, if there is something missing, they can mention that. So that's one way of getting good feedback. It's a way of learning of how your product is doing. And secondly, you create a lot of content. So the bottom line to the question that Preeti asked would be that you create something which not only gives you as a restaurant owner some benefit, but also gives you a lot of content to promote on your social media. So what happens is, in totality, with that one event or one campaign, you have done, like, you've kind of resolved 3 areas. So that's how you should do it. And it can be anything, Preeti. It can be something as simple as the tasting table as a concept. It can be something as simple as if you've started deliveries, or even if you've, if deliveries were already on, you send a small note. Like right now, we did a small campaign for Mother's Day, right? And we sent out some really interesting notes. It's like, again, how do you emotionally connect with your audience? We also did something very interesting. Most of you would know Pino'z Pizza as a brand. And of course, Pino'z was the one who created the BOGO offers. But in order to kind of create that, Pino'z already has a loyalty factor. But of course, there's a lot of pizza brands coming into Gujarat, especially. Like I always joke and say to my, and tell my team also that there are more pizza brands in Gujarat than in Italy. And in order to kind of create that loyalty, the customer bank, what we did was we created this, kind of a pizza booklet, a loyalty booklet called the Slice of Heaven. And that had multiple vouchers for the people to use it. And it was just priced at, $700. And it had something like, you had a flat 50% coupon. You had a lot of other offers into it. I'll share those details with you as well. And that created a crazy buzz. Like, we of course did some influencer campaign also around it. Otherwise, how would people know of it? But we just did influencer campaigns with it, and people loved it. So those are the talking points, but creative talking points is what people would like. So Rima, I hope I've kind of responded to that.
Yeah, Preeti, I hope we have answered your question. Let's take one more before we move ahead. So how do we utilize influencer marketing for professionals of service industry like healthcare? Dr. Vinay is asking this question. Healthcare industry.
Right. So as I said, so Dr. Vinay, that's the thing, right? Like when if you know of this brand, and Rima, I'll also share these links with you. So I think I had also written it down somewhere, but Sarva Yoga is one bit, right? There are a lot of other brands, and Luke Coutinho, in fact, I see a lot of medical brands associating with him. For medical, to be very honest, in fact, medical, and this morning I was having a conversation with my colleague about Bitcoin companies as well. These are, terms, these are things which are very self, it depends on the particular person to take that decision. But if you are a brand owner who is into the medical industry, I would say you can cater to a lot of communities rather than only influencers. So in fact, Rima, let me explain the difference between an influencer and a community. Today, we are on the platform Relo. Relo itself has a large chunk of community that they own, and versus one influencer, right? So, sir, when you're a medical, when you wish to promote something which is medical oriented, I would suggest that you invest some amount in influencer marketing and select the right influencers who would be the right fit for your product. But parallelly, you do a lot of community meets. So if you see Adidas, Nike, when they launch their runner, this thing, they tie up with a lot of marathon runners, right? And they do these nice events, which are like, they tie up with a nice healthy breakfast partner, and they do these marathon runs, and they promote their product. They talk about that particular range of running shoes that they have created. What happens is, when I see an ex-marathon runner using that product, or if it's a friend of mine who's a very good marathon runner and using that product, I believe in it, the credibility goes higher. And it does not mean that it's deceptive. It's actually, I start believing in it. And of course, then once I use it, I see how it is, then it's up to me if I want to purchase that product or not. So you should also target communities and not only into individual influencers. in such cases, sir. So Rima, I hope that helps.
I think that's a great example, because if I feel that agar koi runner ye shoes use kar raha hai, so I being like a layman who doesn't run, so mere liye to uska longevity acha hoga hi. Like that's like a good relatability to have.
And communities will always give you a larger reach also, and a lot of interaction. So you can do smaller scale events, Dr. Vinay, with these communities, and then you'll get a lot of feedback. So it also gives you a platform to interact with your right teaching.
Right. So Radhika, do you want to move ahead? So let's move ahead. There are a few more questions. I think we can take it after a couple of slides.
No problem. So I was just kind of, just going to give you, as I said, I had not given a brief about OpenSlate. So just a quick, this thing, you all can see what we do. We are into brand consulting. So what I do is, my company has 3 verticals. So one is we do end-to-end brand consultation, wherein, it's majorly digital marketing now. We do a lot of event curation. So we launch a lot of brands in Gujarat, and we've done a lot of launches elsewhere. And we also have a digital community which talks about what's new in Ahmedabad. It's an Ahmedabad specific community. Now, because we are talking about influencer marketing, Arima, I just wanted to, of course, I've put in the examples that we have done because I can only use those, but I want to kind of show how is that different. So, one second. Yes. So I am going to show you 3 examples here of influencer marketing. So one is we did something when Coffee by Dibella launched in Gujarat. Now, what I want to show you is how we've kind of marketed this, right? Okay, so I think this, unfortunately, my team had kind of put in the tasting table. Sorry. I'll show you what Skoda has, we did for Skoda. So Skoda, again, they were launching their brand, their thing called Octavia. And there you had to create, and because it's a high-end product, right? So you have to create aspirational content. In this case, everybody knows that if it's an influencer, yes, they might own a Skoda, but it's a promotion, right? But we had to create a lifestyle kind of a reel. So I'll just show you.
Yeah, I think we cannot hear the audio, but still the video gives us a good idea.
So this was one example. And recently we launched this Japanese brand called Royce. Royce Chocolates is known for this thing. Again, I think, so sorry guys, I think my team has put in more than the influencer marketing. They've put in the events that we've done. But Rima, I will kind of take you through the, like the one which the lady asked, that how do we promote existing brands? Yeah. So I can just quickly take you through the tasting table we did for Mauve. So this will just give you a rough idea, because most of you guys are restaurateurs, right? So from the setup to everything, we kind of made it a little detailed. So this will give you a rough idea. Sorry, I think it's taking a little time to launch. But anyways, let this load, Rima. Till then, if you have another question, you can check with me, and then while this loads.
Yeah, of course. So we have, let me take healthcare we took. So we have a question from Mr. Ravi. He's saying that we have 1 million reach from last 1 month and 20.1K followers on Instagram. We are promoting a business through Instagram ads. So we have confusion that is influencer marketing worth it? We don't have any experience of influencer marketing results. So I guess
product.
Hello.
Guys, if you have a question, please also tell me what does your brand stand for, because that will give me a clear understanding. Because as I said, influencer marketing doesn't work for everything.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. So while Mr. Ravi, if you're there, can you just put in your brand name or what industry you belong to? In the meanwhile, I'll take one more. So I have been running a cloud kitchen since 8 months in a residential locality. Recently have launched a cake shop in the same location with revamped interiors. So how do we promote it to convert more customers? There is hardly anyone on the street after 9 p.m. in the locality. I think it's a very unique case. Mr. Divyang has asked this question.
Hello.
Rima, yes. Sorry, can you just repeat I figured the cake shop, the last bit of it?
So basically, Divyang has a cloud kitchen, is running a cloud kitchen since 8 months. And recently they converted that into like a proper cake shop with revamped interiors. And they want to promote it to convert more customers. Their problem seems to be that the locality that they're located in, they don't have anyone on the street after 9 p.m. I think it's not a very busy locality or a busy street, it seems.
Yeah, hello, ma'am. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, Divyang. Hi. So,
Hi.
Divyang, how you can do it is recently, I worked on a brand which had a similar issue. In fact, their issue was that they promoted themselves as an ice cream place only, right? And they were running on a very like आप जैसे बोल रहे हैं आप non peak area में है like non उसमें area में है, they were in the prime area of Ahmedabad, and their issue was that ice creams is very timely, right? आप generally Ahmedabad में ice creams or anywhere it's post dinner. So with such heavy rentals, how do you kind of get people to come throughout the day? That was a big challenge for them. What they did it, and I'll come to your particular question, but I'm just giving you an example, and I'll come to your question that how do you get more people to your outlet? So they did two things. One is what we did for them rather is they in fact introduced coffees, right? So the marketing thing changed to we do a one-on-one on coffees, and then when somebody comes in, they try the star product, which is the ice cream, right? So what happens is when you introduced a coffee, 11 to 6 or 11 to 8 also people come in for coffees, youngsters, especially after their classes, college. And especially when you introduce the one-on-one, that was the reason we introduced a one-on-one is so that more people get to know of the place, more people start coming in. And eventually a one-on-one was on the coffee, not on the ice cream. And eventually people landed up having ice cream as well, right? Now, in your case, it's the footfalls, which is an issue. So some offers of this sort would be great. Second is you can't expect footfalls if people don't know of your place. So the idea would be you, again, like as I told Dr. Vinay also, you tie up with some communities, invite them to your place. Communities is the best way to reach out to a larger chunk of audience. Once you start getting people, so when I say communities, Divyang, may I ask, are you from Ahmedabad?
No, ma'am, I'm from Calcutta.
Calcutta. So Divyang, there would be a lot of food communities hoti hain, right, who have a lot of following. So my suggestion would be that you invite these communities, you ask them to promote your space. That's how people will get to know of your space. Second is what you should do is all your nano influencers, you should send them hampers and tell them that, hey, this is who we are. This is where we are located. This is the product we sell. It would be great if you can visit us, right? Typically, nano influencers always post stories, and the storyline that you are going to communicate should be on a well-designed format with your product. So when an influencer posts something, you should say, may I know your cake shop's name, Divyang?
Yeah, the name is Cakery Bakery. So
Cakery
Bakery.
Yeah. Right. So Cakery Bakery now at whichever location in Calcutta, right? That would be your key focus. And or you can do a hashtag now open at XYZ location, right? That's how. And you send it to influencers, nano influencers. Most of them will post stories. So with communities, you've reached out to a particular audience. With these nano influencers, they've posted stories for free and they've experienced a product. Ultimately, Divyank, it all depends on the product as well. If they like it, they will spread the word and they will also come to your store. And the third bit is you do offers. Once people come in, seeing these two formats, you run offers for them so that more people start coming in. And if your product is good, trust me, with these three factors, they will come back again. It's just that initial push you need to give.
All right. Got it, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Divyank.
Okay,
Yes.
Radhika, we have one more from Joe. He's asking, would like to know more about customer engagement and segmentation strategies from organic marketing to customers who have already visited us in a restaurant.
So what is this question?
So basically, what I'm assuming, Joe, you can unmute and correct me if I'm wrong. Would like to know more about customer engagement versus segmentation strategy. So there are two segments in restaurant of one is acquiring new customers and the customers have already visited them. So what would be the customer engagement strategies for both of them? Like a segmented strategy, what can you do to acquire new customers and the customers who have already visited you?
Great. So customers who already visited, typically you don't have to call them back if your product is good. If your product is good, they will come back, right? If your product is not good, that's the feedback. It's, as I said, market research is the key, right? So if your product is not good, whenever a customer is coming in, it's important to understand. And that's when you can use platforms like Relo, to kind of see the feedback that the customer has given. Correct. So if as I said, customer will visit you again if they've liked your product. Now, new customers, how do you kind of get in new customers? I would ideally say this is possible through three things. One is performance marketing, but the way you put in your performance marketing is important. So I'm not going into the details of budgets, but if you are a food restaurant owner, it's very important to invest in good photography. Because food is something, अगर मैं एकदम simple Indian language में बोलूं तो जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. It's like that. If मुझे visually वो अच्छा लगा तो मेरे stomach को भी भाएगा. It's something as simple as that, right? So it's important that for a new customer, when you are doing performance marketing, you use the right set of pictures. If you'll not use nice pictures, then this performance marketing would, people will just swipe through and not look at it. Second is you can do offers. That is one way of getting the customers initially. And third bit is whether you do it through influencer marketing or whether you run a contest and do a nice table with people who would love to visit your restaurant, right? And once you host a table for 20 people, but you do experiential marketing. So in order to get new customer, you should do experiential marketing. When I say experiential marketing is you can do events, on-ground events, wherein people actually come and taste your food. This can be via you host an event for influencers, or you host an event, as I said, run a contest and get 20 people to kind of come and experience your space. Because as I, in my presentation also I've mentioned, when you do it with a, different form of people, you reach out to a larger target group. So that would be ways of getting newer customer. And third, last thing would be that for new or old customers, the idea is that they have to keep on coming in, and unless you don't have something new, so change your menu every 6 months, introduce something new. I think in this day and age, people get bored very fast. So they want some nice storyline. They want something new, coming in. So do like a nice signature dish of 3 things, 4, 5 things, something of that sort can work. So these are like few key points I would suggest.
Right. Interesting. Radhika, I have a very interesting question. I think this is a question that at some point even I've struggled in my career too. So Varsha is asking that I'm running a cafe from last 1 year. How can we increase the sales from influencer marketing? One, she paid to some food blogger and they got more likes, but then what next? And how they can do BTL marketing activities from this process?
Correct. So you paid to some food blogger and you got more likes. But as I said, food, Varsha runs a cafe, right? You mentioned. So food is something which unless people don't experience, they will not this thing. So Varsha, if possible, send me that link which the influencer made and promoted, because I want to see that link. See, what happens is food and an influencer. So what happens with a food and influencer? When you use a fashion influencer, correct? Sorry, my thing is breaking. Yes, Varsha, sorry. Sorry guys, 1 second. So when you use a fashion influencer promoting your product, people are typically following them because they look good, right? So that becomes the primary objective versus the food, right? Now, I would like to see that video as and when, because I want to see how much of the focus is on the food, right? And the way the food is shot. So if I have not communicated in that video what the cafe is all about, and I have just kind of said that, okay, hey, I visited this cafe, but most of these influencers actually promote a lot of cafes, right? So if I don't show the USP of that cafe, that, okay, this is the cafe, this is what they do, these are the star products I tried, right? These are the star products I tried. If I don't do that, then very rarely you will see the conversion. So it also depends, Varsha, on what was the narrative of that campaign, right? So I hope I have answered Rima the question. Was this her question?
Yes, that was her question. Wait.
So
yeah.
I would like to see it. And, yes, I would like to see that, and I'll give you my personal opinion on that as well. That's why I said, Varsha, in the key points, that very important as a brand owner to know what you want to communicate. Forget whether it's a paid or an unpaid deal. Efforts go from both, from your side, agency side, if an agency is involved, and even from the influencer side. See, it's their business. They also spend a lot of time, right? Yes, I will share the PPT only if you all give me credits when you go through it. So yeah, no, I'm kidding, guys. I will.
Yeah. Okay, I have one more question. I might have missed that in between. Is influencer marketing good for you to market education in culinary arts?
Good for you to market education in culinary. So are you asking me that as an individual, if somebody is done something?
It's by Zareen Mirza.
Hi, can I speak?
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
So, hi Radhika. We are a brand based in Ahmedabad. The name of the brand is MTAC. It's an international culinary institute, and we do diploma courses which are in the certification comes from City and Guilds London.
Right.
So we are struggling right now to do a digital marketing, and we want to know that how we can is digital marketing through using influencers a good way, or doing more of students' testimonials would work for us?
So Varsha, testimonials and all only come in a lot later. Reason being, because first is for people to know your brand. First step. Second step, for them to come on your page or to your culinary institute. It's an institute, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it's a culinary institute. This is Zareen, not Varsha. And
sorry.
What,
yes. Zareen.
Yeah, please go ahead. No, I was just saying that we want to know whether influencer marketing would work for us, and if not influencer marketing, does student testimonial and student-based work for us better, or how does it work better for us?
Sure. So Varsha, in this case, I would say influencer marketing will not be the best way to start with. How you should start with is, see, any credibility of a brand, especially an institute, and if you're a culinary institute, comes through when you associate and collaborate with a lot of interesting F&B brands. When I say F&B, it can be a kitchen studio, it can be a oil brand, it can be a brand that sells groceries, right? Known brands, I'm saying. Now, when you said in Ahmedabad, so Ahmedabad has a lot of these brands like Gulab oils, Tirupati oils, right? These are some brands. My idea would be, first thing would be to introduce this culinary studio in a way wherein you get all these brands together and host a nice tasting session, right? By your students, if you have your students, or if you have your trainers who are going to teach the students, correct? What will happen is, I'll address this thing right here. individually right now you're struggling to get the crowd. But what happens is when you tie up with these people, these brands, they, even if 10 people from these brands will come in, you will get an audience of 50, 60, 100 people, right? These 100 people will then talk about that, hey, this is the kind of culinary studio which is open. Even if 10 people come back to you, or 10 people through these 100 come back to you. And that's how the word of mouth rotates. As soon as you do this event, you can then kind of promote your space, do a nice visual of your space, promote it. Once you promote it and once few people know or have heard about it, then you put in some budgets into influencer marketing. Directly doing influencer marketing for any culinary thing, as I previously also mentioned, even if it's a restaurant, it does not help. You have to sell the experience first, you have to sell the space first, and then you can get into the influencer marketing bit. So the third step would be influencer marketing. Do a collaboration with brands. When you're doing that event, call communities, food communities, they will come to your place. So get a larger chunk of people from different age group, different formats, gather them, tell them what you guys do. Just do a very simple soft launch, right? Serve some great food, because it's all about culinary. So your chefs can make some great food, your trainers can make some great food. You'll get a good chunk, you'll get people to know about it. Then do the performance marketing. As I said, put a nice video. That's the second step. And the third step would be do the influencer marketing, because that's when, if say, for example, once you've done the first two steps, I've heard about your brand. So today an XYZ influencer for Ahmedabad promotes it, even if it's a nano influencer, I'll say, हाँ, मैंने सुना है इस brand के बारे में. Okay, let me see what this brand is about. And that's when I'll go to that page, and actually it will register in my head. Because the idea is not only to go to the Instagram page, the idea is also to register what this brand is all about. So somebody, as soon as somebody says culinary studio, it should be your studio, Zareen, that should come to my mind.
Thank you very much, Radhika. We've also shared our Instagram page in the links in the chat, if you could go through it later.
Sure, Zareen, I'll do that. And I'll share my email ID. So any help you need, please let me know.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zareen.
Radhika, we have two more questions if you have time. So one is by Mr. Raman. He's asking, how does one promote a pizza brand which is 1.5 years old to create more awareness in one area through influencer marketing, and in the end create more sales or a ROI from that investment also?
More sales and ROI through that.
Yeah, basically, I think to just is, it's a 1.5 year old pizza brand, and they want to do influencer marketing to create more awareness.
Correct. So, sir, my first thing would be, what is his name?
Mr. Raman.
Mr. Raman. So, Mr. Raman, my first response to that would be, when you say you want to do an influencer campaign, I think it's important to define that campaign. And for a pizza brand, I think this is the best time to promote, because IPL is on, right? So IPL, cricket, pizzas is the best combination then, and that can be your talking point of the campaign. So I would say that one is, if you make it a talking point, and make it a little different talking point, something as simple as have a catchy line to your campaign, and make all influencers use that campaign. That if it's IPL, it's XYZ pizza brand, right? So that at least more that kind of brand recall is there. Right now, I think one campaign that runs in my head is Vadidal's Va Va Va. Ice cream, this thing they have done, and they've created a very nice musical this thing to it, right? So it keeps on ringing in my head whenever I talk about ice creams, right? Somehow, irrespective of whether I purchase it or not. So I would say that you should do an influencer marketing campaign, and if you're doing it, do it soon, because this is the right time. IPL finals are coming, so you have to also see the reason why you're promoting it. Friendship Day is coming in August. Those are times when you can do it. But every time you do any influencer campaign, have a catchy talking point. At this point, immediately you can relate IPL and your pizza brand and run an entire campaign around it. Your second thing is more sales, more ROI. In terms of sales, if you are selecting, depending on the number of influencers, I don't know if this particular pizza brand has an app. If they don't, then if there is a way, you can have a discount code. You can give a flat 50% on one day or something like that, you know. And if you, that one day you can promote through these influencers that, okay, on June 1st, it's a flat 50%, or get a pizza at 1 rupee. You know, those talking points, so that the brand gets some visibility, and then your ROI will follow. But the ROI will only follow if your product is good. This is one thing I tell all food brands, irrespective of how much budget you pay. But if your food product is not good, your packaging is not good, then nobody can do anything. So if you're spending, first spend in your product and then spend on any form of marketing.
Yeah, that's true, Radhika. Mr. Raman, I hope that answers your question. We have now, let's take one from Mr. Rohit. He's asking how to promote a brand which was earlier running as a food outlet in brick and mortar, but now is a cloud kitchen.
Okay. And now is a cloud kitchen. So do you, Rohit, do you have a good database?
Yes, ma'am. I have a database like around 5,000 customers.
Wow. Okay.
And right now, what I am using is, one-on-one WhatsApp chatting. So, on everyday basis, I try to talk to people like around 100, because I shouldn't get banned, on WhatsApp. So that is the reason I send messages to the customers, and through only that medium only I'm using, to generate sales. But other than that, I'm unable to find a medium. So since I checked your influencer thing, so I wanted to know like whether this could help, or is there any other medium as well? So that
your constraint is taking orders, Rohit, beyond 100.
So basically, beyond 100, I don't want to send messages to the customer, because otherwise WhatsApp will basically ban me, because I'm not using WhatsApp API.
Yes. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, you can switch to a WhatsApp business community and you can reach out to a larger audience. If I'm not mistaken, the community format of WhatsApp, which is new.
I would like to add.
Yes, sure.
Hi, this is Rajdeep here.
Yes, Rajdeep, hi.
I run a restaurant in Pune. It's a Maharashtrian non-veg thali special.
Okay.
I just want to add the person's concern about the WhatsApp marketing. I go through the Relo just only for the WhatsApp marketing.
Yes, I was actually about to say that.
They have fabulous marketing WhatsApp.
A lot of my F&B clients also use Relo. So yes, I know. I personally get a lot of messages.
Yes, it's a very good tool. And you continue. I'm listening to you. It's going on very well.
Thank you so much for the kind words.
Yes. Sorry. So Rohit, I think this was your concern about messaging, and was there a question apart from this?
The question is basically like how I can generate more sales apart from WhatsApp. Like what are other mediums?
Okay, so Rohit, if you are a cloud kitchen, and you mentioned that you were a kitchen, like a full-fledged restaurant before, right? So पहली चीज ये है कि I would suggest that आपके जो VVIP clients थे, in your previous, when you were a full-fledged restaurant, you make a nice hamper with your products. And when I say a nice, this thing, it has to be put a nice storyline to it. If it was an issue to have a restaurant and then you decided, I don't know what is your story, but in case if that it was an issue and then you made it into a cloud kitchen, be very real with your customers, right? That's my first key point. Put out your real story and send the food to your maybe 10, 20, 25 key customers, and also see how active they are on Instagram. Once you see that, send it to those customers. That would be the first thing. Second is what we had done for a cloud kitchen. We were representing a cloud kitchen in terms of promoting them. So we were doing their social media and their promotions. Every month, I used to send, so in a month, there are 4 weeks. Every week, I will send it to 5 influencers, right? And you reach out to these influencers directly or via an agency also, that's fine. And every week I would send it to 5 influencers. And this we did consistently for 3 months, right? Irrespective of what we did, their product was great. Hence, they received some great response. However, what we did for them is when we were promoting it, as I said, 5 influencers per week. So what happens is your visibility is there constantly throughout the month and into 3. So it's there for 3 months. That's how you get more traction on your page. Once you start getting more traction, put in some money in performance marketing, right? As I'd mentioned previously also, little bit initially, at least the first 6 months, you will have to invest in a good photo shoot, a little bit of influencer marketing, and a little bit of performance marketing. This combination does very well. If your product is good, after 6 to 8 months, you just need base level promotions, some interaction with your customers, and you're good to go. So this is how I would request that you should do. To sum it up, send it to your key VIP clients, send it to 20 influencers, 5 a month, and attach a good storyline to it. Whatever is your real story, put your Instagram handles, share your menu in that particular, although you'll be not sharing the entire, all the dishes, but share your menu also and from where they can order next time. And yes, I think it should be good.
Yeah.
Thank you
Radhika,
so much.
I can add up to it because it was just lying on my table. So Rohit, since we have a lot of cloud kitchens in our webinar, there's like one of the brand, if you can see it over here, it's by Nini's Kitchen, Baked by Nini's, is one of a very well-known brand in Ahmedabad. So what they do is they have created this QR code scan from a Relo's account. And it just says that we have got a gift for you, just scan this QR code and claim the offer. Now, what they've done is the moment you scan this QR code, your customer will be asked to share their name and number to claim the offer. And the offer could be anything. It could be like, because Baked by Nini is a bakery, so their offer is like 1 piece of pastry free on your next visit. It could be 100 points on your next visit or 50 rupees on bucks like that. Very few people visit because of the offer, but what you get is you get the name and number of your customer if it's going, especially when it's going via Zomato, Swiggy. Now you can, so Rohit, we talked about WhatsApp marketing. You have 5,000 customer data. You can collect more customers data for the orders that are going via online delivery platforms. And then you can market them further using the campaigns, using WhatsApp API campaigns. So that's one another way wherein few of our customers are using, QR code while in the cloud kitchen industry. So just wanted to share this a little example for you.
Thank you, Rima, for adding that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rohit.
Okay, we have Radhika. Do you have a little more time?
Yes.
Yeah.
All yours, Rima, today. So yeah, no worries. I'm happy to help.
I'm glad all our viewers are getting so much time of yours. So we have one question, Parth Kapoor. He's saying that I'm running 3 cloud kitchens in Amritsar. How to collaborate with influencers for cloud kitchen? I think this is sort of similar to what Rohit has asked.
No, I think. Sorry, do you want to complete? And then
yeah, there's 2-3 things that you have asked. So how to collaborate with influencers for cloud kitchen? Also, there are mostly micro influencers, but they charge high amount. So how to go about it?
Okay. Right. So, what I would suggest is I'll kind of respond to both your questions. Your first question is how to collaborate with influencers. So ideally, what you should do is, it also depends on, I've seen this, it also depends on how you're messaging them. So when you message them, actually, some of them agree to do it FOC. FOC is free of cost and not charge you anything. We typically, what I would recommend is you send them a nice note which talks about your story, what your restaurant is all about, and make it sound special in terms of, why is it that you want to invite them. So it all depends on your writing, on how you are reaching out to the influencer. This typically happens when you can reach out to them on their Instagram. And also, if you want, you can ask them for their WhatsApp number, or if you want, you can just, share some pictures of your restaurant, all of it for them. That's how you reach out to them. And most of them will agree if it is written well. That's one thing. Now, second thing is, when you are saying that micro levels influencers charge, instead of telling them to come and promote it, because the it's like if you tell them that, hey, this is what we do and I want you to promote, it's a very direct thing that bhai, wo charge karenge. So in that case, what you do is, if I'm an influencer, I will see what's in it for me, right? So in that case, how you should go about it is, you should tell them that, hi, this is me, this is what I do. I would love for you to come and host a table with maybe some of your friends, some of your family members. You can, as an owner, keep a, as an owner, you can keep a cap to it in terms of how many can the influencer get. But what
Radhika,
happens is,
Radhika, ours is a cloud kitchen, we don't have a dine-in.
Oh, you don't have a dining. Okay. So they are saying that, okay. So in that case, then Parth, what do you do catering?
No, I don't do catering. We are actually cloud kitchens only.
Okay.
That is on delivery basis. Yeah.
Okay. So in that case, Parth, then what you can do is you can tell them that, listen, this is what we do. And if you're hosting, we would love to host a house party with you. Right? So what is your brand name, Parth, if I may ask?
It's by the name, one is by the name My Kind of Food.
My Kind of Food, right? So it can be
Mr. Mo.
Okay, so I say My Kind of Food, right? So it can be XYZ influencer into My Kind of Food, and you host a house party for them, right? Because ultimately, आपका खाना तो house parties या घर पे ही है, it's a cloud kitchen, right?
Yeah.
You create content with these people. You tell them that we would love to create content, and if need be, you select your 5 influencers and you tell them that we will shoot. We will give you the short content. We will shoot, meaning you will pay for the shooting of the content. But I would love to collaborate with you, and I would love to do a collaboration wherein we throw a house party together, right? And you guys will provide the food. You guys become the F&B partners for them, and actually show the experience, not only about the food, but how people are enjoying the food, right? Once you do that sort of this thing, the influencer also sees that you're ready to invest on a larger scale, right? You're investing in food, you're investing in the videographer, all of that. So then that inkling comes in, can I, they are also doing something, so let me do something. It's the feeling, that's an easy way out, a smarter way out, guys. That's how you should do it, because ultimately, if you do a give and take, then everybody will charge. Right? So go, do it this way. Try it, Parth. If that still doesn't happen, you have my Instagram handle. It's my name on Instagram, Radhika Bhuktani, and message me. I can kind of help you out there and suggest some other things as well. But I know for a fact that this will happen, because this will be content. Every influencer's biggest issue is content creation. So what will happen is you are creating content for them and giving it ready. So, you're making their life also easier.
Right. Understood. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
No problem, Parth. Welcome.
Yeah, we have a question from Pooja. I think Pooja is the same person I've asked before, that we are a restaurant in Mumbai and how to increase delivery sales. We are already on Zomato, Swiggy with offers. So Pooja, before Radhika take this, if not just Pooja, but if any one of you wants to know how to just increase sales in very generic marketing, you guys can also drop in your contact details in the chat. I can have someone from our team to reach out and, to explain you whole about the marketing automation and how you can set that up and how you can use that to your advantage to increase sales as a whole and not just like influencer marketing. And very specific questions regarding influencer marketing, Radhika can of course take that up. So Radhika, do you want to take this up of how to increase delivery sales?
So, as you rightly said, I'm not the biggest experts in terms of this bit, but however, what I would say is if your focus point is delivery, I would say that your key clients, VIP clients, and some of the influencers or people with a good reach who will spread foodies, they can be general foodies also. Like recently, Rima, yesterday I hosted a table at Vadilal wherein it was, the launch of the new summer menu. But what we did was we celebrated with women entrepreneurs of the city rather than just calling influencers, right?
Right.
Because women entrepreneurs are the ones who would like to, party a little, get in their gang, spread the word. But we made it with a cause. So in your case, what was the lady's name? Sorry.
Pooja.
Pooja. So Pooja can then, in that case, Pooja, what you can do is, which I just mentioned to Parth as well, or before that, I think I mentioned to Ronit, that create a nice hamper. If delivery is your key focus point, then make people experience that delivery, right? Go all out in making them experience. Every week, do 5 people, put a nice card to it wherein they know about your brand, your Instagram handles, let them tag, so that the people will know that, hey, we now deliver, whatever is your brand name, and we now deliver. So it's also very important on how you communicate it as a brand, make it more visible. And I think that will kind of lead to more sales eventually. And you can mention that you are on Zomato, Swiggy, or however, if you want to do direct orders, you can mention some discount code on direct orders. Can be done that ways also.
Right. I think that helps. We have one last question, Vinay Agarwal. He's asking that how to select the right influencer. Is there like a number of followers or something like that? So
Vinay, I think I have shared those details in the presentation, how to select a right influencer. But if you want me to quickly repeat, it's very easy in terms of one is, what is the kind of, if you're a F&B brand, then you have to select an influencer who can be a foodie, but who also is not like, contradicting food in any way. You will not, F&B is for everyone, right? Restaurant, everybody comes in, but you cannot have somebody who's only promoting vegan or fitness food only, right? So that's the key thing. Second thing is, you see their engagement rate, how it is. Third thing is narrative, storyline. So once you get the influencer on board, see to it, like right now, somebody had asked me that they did a marketing campaign and they didn't get a good turnout. And that is the key reason. What is being shot is equally important. So kind of have a good storyline, prepare a good mood board. That is important. That's the third thing. And fourth thing would be that see to it that whatever you want to communicate, your location, that is communicated well. But the details of it, Vinay is in the presentation, which if you want, I'll share it with Rima, and Rima can share it with you all. It has all the details what you just asked.
Right. Yeah, okay.
Great.
So when I say thank, I think that's about it for the questions.
Hello,
Come
this side. I'll take from this side. That logo will go and stand. All the dabbas come every time I see the dabbas on the back.
It's
Chalo.
the mic of MTS
Aisha, go.
Amazon. I'm not sure if they are asking question.
मेरा photo newspaper पे आ गया.
No,
क्या
I-
करेंगे?
No,
I
they're
don't
not.
think they're asking questions.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Sorry for the interruption.
No problem.
So that's it, Radhika, for today. I had a couple of questions written down for myself, but I think you answered like the most of all the questions, and I think what people asked. So it covered pretty much everything, and the session was very insightful. Guys, if anyone has any questions at the end, please feel free. While we do that, I'm just launching a poll on your screens. Please help me out answer that question. I'll just take like quick 1 second. And I'm also sharing a link in the chat box below. For anyone who wants to register for Relo, they can directly sign up from this link. And our team can reach out to you on priority. So that's one. And I've also shared a feedback form link. Please just take out 2 minutes quickly to fill that feedback. That will really help us shape the webinar better for the future. So, Radhika, do you have like any insight? One last question before we end the webinar. Your experience or any insight or any one premium advice that you want to give to our listeners today?
Yes, in order to sum it up, I would genuinely say, and since you said most of them are restaurant users, I would say work on your product first and work on your experience first. It's important. We are all in the service industry, whether if I'm in an agency or you are a restaurant owner, it's very important on how you serve your client and what you serve to them, right? So my thing would be, those are the 2 key points first before you go all out to your audience. Second thing is, please, when you have your marketing, budgets in place, please see to it that you have it's not necessary to have a large chunk, but as I said, the math is very simple. Whatever you've invested, 30% of that has to go into the marketing, even if you span it out in that full year, right? If you can, that's important. And third thing is, don't be in a hurry. Results don't come in immediately. It takes time. It takes time to build a brand, but build it well, build it with a strategic plan. don't be only dependent on an agency. As an owner of a brand, it's important for you to lead it, to have a vision of what you want. Any third party will only help you accomplish it. Nobody can, make your brand successful except you, right? So it's very important that you are very confident about what you want. And of course, agencies and people can help you and guide you in all ways, always. So that's my key insights and my experience that I can tell everybody.
That's so well said. So Radhika, we just have very good words to say. Everyone is saying thank you. It was a great session. Okay, there's someone asking, guys, we were just wrapping up, but I'll take this one up. If it's already running a bakery, so how do you calculate 30% of what? I mean, I did not understand the question myself.
Sure. 30% of the marketing what
Okay,
they are saying.
Yeah.
So whoever that person is, when that
Akash.
example was, what is his name?
Akash.
So Akash, that example was basically when you are starting something. If you are an existing bakery at this point, if you are an existing bakery at this point, it entirely depends on your ROI. That's how you will calculate your marketing budget. But if your ROI is, say, for example, you are earning around, we are a brand designer, recently I entered into things like a collab and all. Great. So that's great. But in terms of, if his question was how to invest, like how to calculate that 30%, that was his question, Reema?
No, I think it's just asking 30% of what might have missed listening to. That's all.
No, he's mentioned we have 3 outlets, average of 2 lakhs with 3 out total. Okay, yeah. Akash, so this 2 lakhs with 3 outlets. So how to calculate? Okay, so Akash, I think you missed that. Okay, great, no problem. So 30% was just an example when you start something. So if you are starting something, on an average, 30% is the budget you should keep for marketing. It's not that you use it entirely. At this point, if your earnings, your profit is 2 lakh, you will have to spend at least, I would say 1 lakh, because if I don't know, 2 lakhs since 1986, right? And you have 3 outlets. So you should at least spend, I would say, around 30 to 40,000 a month in marketing. 2 lakhs is the general sale per day. Okay, so for total 3. Okay, great, Akash. Thank you. I kind of got the point. So you have a revenue of about 60 lakhs, right? So this is a good thing. And since your benefit is you have 3 outlets, when it is just a 1 outlet brand, then marketing gets expensive, right? Now your entire marketing budget is being divided into 3 outlets. So how I would suggest is, this is your earning. You don't have to now look at your earning when you're planning your marketing budget. You have to substantially plan a marketing plan that what is your objective? Number 1, I need to know that. Based on that, you have a substantial marketing plan. And number 3, based on the marketing plan, which you and your agency or you yourself finalize, you put budgets to that marketing plan. So agar aapka pure saal ka budget hai, for example, even if I say 2 lakhs a month, your entire year's budget is 24 lakhs. Based on your marketing plan, now you divide that 24 lakhs into every quarter, right? So maybe the first quarter you are using 10 lakh of rupees. Second quarter, you'll use a little less. In this, it also depends season-wise, Akash. So that is also extremely important. Just Reema, right now, it's, we're not doing a lot of promotion for F&B brands because especially in Gujarat right now, it's May, it's very hot. So everybody's traveling. So, you don't put in a lot of amount in promotions versus what you start doing it in July, August, because then the festive season comes in. Right. So it depends on that, Akash. I'm happy to help you because this requires a little bit of detailing for me to answer. But an overview I've given you that have a chunk budget. So for you, it will be good to have a budget of 24-25 lakhs a year to start with because you just have 3 outlets at this point. I think from my understanding, you want to grow because if you have 3 outlets, you might want to do franchise, this, that, right? So divide into quarter. Okay. Got one. Okay. Yes, I figured because that's how when you mentioned. So keep a budget, Akash, of at least 24 lakhs and it will help you grow. But detailing of it, I can only help you one-on-one. So if you have something, you can reach out to me. Otherwise, reach out to a good agency in your city and they'll help you out.
Yeah. Okay, I hope Akash, that answers your question.
Akash, this is a little detailed, but no, I would say no, not on Swiggy Zomato. Swiggy Zomato is different. This budget is majorly for letting people know about your brand and eventually helping you franchise or eventually making your brand bigger. Because unless your brand is not big, franchise is not that easy. I think the best example would be Baked by Mimi's, which Rima did show. What they did was fantastic.
Yeah, Big Bang Mini is growing really well, and I love their marketing activities that they're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, guys, so we're going to wrap up the session over here, and thank you for taking time out to join us and patiently listening us. And of course, thank you, Radhika. It would not have been possible without your insights. And we can see the enthusiasm, all of them who joined is staying till the end. It was very insightful session. We loved everything. Guys, I'm just sharing few links and number in the chat. And we're going to make an exit, but I'm keeping the window open for someone who wants to, copy the links and number. And you can always reach out. You guys have my email ID. You can always reach out there, or there's a WhatsApp group. You can reach out via that. And I'll make sure if there's anything we can help with, I'll respond immediately. Thank you, Radhika.
Thank you, Rima, and thank you, everybody, for spending time for this beautiful workshop that Rima organized and Relo organized. So thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I hope you guys take back a lot of learning. And as I said, any questions, anything, you can get back to Rima or me directly, however that works. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Radhika. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, Rima. Bye. See you.